What's up? What's up, family? Welcome in. Welcome into another episode of Life with Shine. It's your girl, Drika Shine, here, coming to you with our episode 3. And this episode is all about what is spiritual warfare and what it actually looks like, how this can actually play out in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your family dynamics. And so I felt like this would be important for us to discuss and dive into because everything is spiritual. Okay, everything is spiritual. And so when we can look at things from that lens and understand the metaphysical aspects that are playing out in our lives and in our situations and in our experiences, then this allows us to overcome them all, right? Because the goal is for us to overcome. We are made to overcome. Okay. So, you know, being a spiritual warrior, a spiritual being, someone who is walking in their divinity and choosing their highest soul path, you guys know that we are breaking patterns, breaking cycles, breaking generational dynamics, and creating a new way, a new path. All right. So, spiritual warfare. Okay. Now, this is where it gets very deep for me because, me or you are getting to know more about me through this podcast, more about my experiences, more about my life, which is all the purpose of this, right? To share my story, to have my story be told, but in a way that not only helps me, but in a way that benefits others, in a way that will shift the way others view the world, themselves, their mindset. Okay. So, as a mindset coach, as a business coach, as an entrepreneur, as a mentor, you know, my goal is to really inspire people to see things in a new way, right? And in a way that can be beneficial, in a way that can really help them and give them their breakthrough. Okay. So when I'm here sharing information, being vulnerable, being very transparent, it's because I realize that the experiences I've had, though unique to me and my path and my journey, yet it's still a part of the collective energy. It's still a part of the whole body. It's still a part of all of creation. Okay. So when I look at it from that perspective, it's like there's someone else who needs to know the things that I now know, right? I mean, there's someone else who needs to hear your story, what you've experienced, what you've encountered on your journey of success, right? And we know that success is relative. Success is defined by each unique individual. So success will look different for each of us, right? And only you as a person can define what success is. However, when it comes to us really living out our full potential, then we know the importance of giving back, right? We know the importance of giving, we know the importance of sharing, and that is essentially what creates a ripple effect for a well rounded community, right? For balance and for wholeness. And so let's dive in. I've taken a few notes because it's so much to touch on. And when it comes to spiritual warfare, that, I'm going to give enough in this episode that can really just shed some light and help you understand maybe some of the experiences you have either had, are currently experiencing, or have already overcome. All right. So, what spiritual warfare can look like, guys? And I want to say this because you have to be able to understand your personal power. Okay. So, personal power, when we think about personal power, right, or the word power in general, personal power is for you the ability to empower yourself, okay, to take your power back from anything or anyone that is having power over you, having any forms of perversion, right, or corruption in a way that does not benefit you. And so this is something for you to identify, where you have given your power away to certain ideas, certain beliefs, certain habits, certain things. Okay. This is something for you to actually do the deep diving in the inner work to uncover. Now, I will say that this is a very intricate journey because it's layer for layer. You don't get everything all at once, right? So a lot of times you get information through your experiences, and this is how you know. See, your experiences is what solidifies you in your knowing. Okay. And that's when it becomes knowledge. And that knowledge being applied and put into practice turns into wisdom. Okay. So this is about wising up, being more wise, right? So utilizing the information or the knowledge that you know, that you've acquired through your experiences, through observing and thinking, right? So using your mind, exercising your mind, um, really growing beyond your current state of being, right? And this is what we will refer to as leveling up, continuing to level up. Now, when you're on this journey, there's going to be opposition. And when I say opposition, most people would think of it as I don't know, a bad thing, but it's a good thing. Opposition to me is opportunity for you to grow, opportunity for you to do something different, opportunity for you to do something in a new way. Okay. So This opposition, and in the most simplest and basic way to explain it, is the spiritual war. Okay. The spiritual battle. And oftentimes I want to be clear that um everything starts and ends with you. Okay. You are the beginning and the end of an idea. So as you go through your experiences and your journey, these things are helping to mature you, to help grow you, to help evolve and expand you. Okay. So you often hear things like new level, new devil, right? Well, guess what? To me, a new level is new opportunity, new chances to experience something new, to experience something different. So, where people may get caught up in a battle, in warfare, is when they are under mental and psychic attacks. And this could look like intrusive thoughts, right? This could look like control. This can look like any type of stress, right? These are all really symptoms of some kind of attack or misalignment. Okay. So you must be able to control your mind and rebuke things that is not of God. You must be able to see those symptoms in your life as a sign that something is off track. Okay. Something is off track, meaning something is not yet apparent, clear, or aware to you. Meaning that now you're in a position where you are needing clarity. Okay. You are needing answers. You are needing to see what that thing is in order to be able to what? Resolve it, transmute it. So essentially, if we can really think about it, spiritual warfare, and I like to put things in a simple way, is ignorance. It's ignorance. And so what ignorance is something that you don't yet know. And like the Bible says, my people will perish due to lack of knowledge. So it's the lack of knowing something, right? So when we don't know something, what we don't know can be used against us, can hurt us, can harm us. This is the spiritual warfare. Okay. So this is where we have to be able to increase our awareness. This is how you combat ignorance. Is you increase your awareness, your ability to learn and observe new information. So there is a level of you being a student of being able to learn new things. You see, as children, as kids, the reason why children develop and grow so fast is because they have this openness to learning. They're learning a lot more information, a lot more new things. And as they're gathering this new information, they are growing. They are developing at such a rapid rate because their ability to process and metabolize new information is greater for them. But see, as what ends up happening as we get older, as we grow and mature, and we have certain life experiences, sometimes we may not be as um maybe open on receiving new information. But I know for me in particular, that's what I live for. I live for new information. I live to grow. That's why growth is at the forefront of everything I do. I want to grow. I want to learn, right? Because I understand I'm a beautiful imperfection, right? I'm perfectly imperfect. Okay. So with that being said, there's more for me to know. There's more for me to learn. There's more for me to grow in certain areas, certain things that, I need more information on. Need to learn more, and that's really what it boils down to. So when you put yourself in that type of position or mindset, then you're putting yourself in a way to receive more, to expand. Okay. So when you don't put yourself in environments or situations that can stretch and expand you for you to learn from, now you're experiencing that resistance that you often may feel when maybe something came up and it was activating to you, right? And so I want you to know that most people will see a trigger as a bad thing. I, however, don't. Triggers are your responsibility. Anything that's triggering you is activating you. It is sending sensations in your body because you are receiving new information. Now, your ability to increase uh your ability to process information and knowing what to do with that information is truly the work. Okay? Because most people who are successful see things as just information and they know what to do with the information, no matter what it is, right? They see triggers as activations. So this is all mindset, guys. This is all how you perceive your reality, how you're perceiving things, how you are tending to your needs. Okay? So this is where self-love comes in. Because let me tell you what self-love does. It combats self-hate, it combats self-neglect, it combats any disrespect. It combats um pretty much everything. If you have your ability to increase your self-love in situations that come up and arise, and you apply self-love, meaning you tend to what you need by having compassion for yourself first in those moments, then you will overcome it all. Okay. And so another way that spiritual warfare, because that touched on just some kind of more personal, internal, maybe even um self-afflicted ways, self-harm, right? That we can experience um warfare. So that's important to note because a lot of people don't realize that that is a thing. Okay. Where is self-harm coming into play with this? You have to be able to analyze that and then apply um new self, new ways to tend to yourself and apply and increase your self-love. And I'm saying it in that way because you only can determine what those details are, because it gets very detailed. It gets very particular. It's simple. What you normally need to do is simple. It's simple instructions. So when you can tune in and listen and pay attention, then you will get those answers, because it's all there. It's all there. It's all in the details. So the more that you increase your awareness, your knowledge, your application of it, your wisdom, now you're ready to teach. You're ready to share. Okay. So another thing that spiritual warfare can look like, it can come in the form of narcissistic abuse. Okay. And this can come through relationships and often stems from upbringing. Okay. So we must break the cycle of this abuse and then look at where there is any self abuse, because I'm all about knowledge of self. So I'm always going to lead you back to yourself. Okay. One of the ways to take your power back is to always see where what you are experiencing in your relationship dynamics, where is that happening or taking place within you, so you could take responsibility for it and therefore take your power back. So for example, if you are experiencing let's say even maybe some form of neglect in some way, right? And mind you, this can all stem from childhood and upbringing. So a lot of this stuff really isn't your fault per se, because it's a lot of conditioning that's happened since birth and childhood that's led up to your adulthood that we're now dealing with and clearing out. Okay. However, it is now our responsibility as adults to do the work, to reparent ourselves, to take accountability, to take our power back. See how that works? So you must break the cycle through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, why is this important for me to say this? Why is this important for me to say this? Because in order to break a cycle, something has to end, which we would normally see from an elevated perspective as a death. There is something that has to come to an ending, right? And then the resurrection is the new birth, the new form, the new change, right? And then Jesus Christ. Why Jesus Christ? Because Jesus Christ is the keys that holds the power. Because when you going through certain spiritual things, you have to understand what Jesus Christ represents. And I don't care who you are, this is for everyone. And, eventually you either come to this knowing and realization in your journey or you don't. But you can't say if you're watching this video, no one told you. So now you know. Okay. So the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ represents the fact that he's already overcame certain demons. He's overcame them. He's the most powerful name in the essence that he has manifested as a man that has gotten the keys to overcoming demons. Okay. So when you're going through the walk of Christ, right? Because Christ consciousness, okay? Christ, when you're Christ centered, when Christ is in you, you are walking that walk. So, like Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. When you're picking up your cross and following Christ, because Christ is the highest consciousness, then guess what you're doing? You're taking your power, your dominion, right? For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. So, breaking these cycles requires you to go through the cycle that Christ went through, the walk that Christ had. So when you understand Christ's walk, you can understand the Christ in you and what you are experiencing. Okay. And so you can then look at it as, if Jesus Christ went through this and overcame it and got the victory, so can I. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the light. He is the one that's already walked the path and created a way for you to overcome it all. So when you acknowledge this, you are in your power. You are in your authority, because now you are acknowledging where your power truly is, where your value truly is. So now this is how you can break these cycles, by understanding the walk of Christ. Which is something where, you have to really experience and, do your research and have mentors and, you know mentorship and fellowship and community to support you through. All right. Your spiritual walk is a personal journey, so your understanding will come through your experiences, your community, those around you. Again, we all are connected. So when it comes to spiritual attacks, right, we have to see where these dynamics play out in um, any abuse that was stemming from upbringing. Just being able to go through childhood and look at any forms of it and really getting those answers and the clarity you need so that you can actually heal. Okay. So we're healing, guys. This is what this is all about. This is the purpose of this episode. It's to help you heal and give you the answers and the keys and unlock the way for you in the path for you to move forward and know where to look. Because you can't say you haven't been told at this point, right? All right, so the spiritual attacks can also come through substance abuse, substance use, right? And this is important to note because a lot of people, you know, they got to understand that that's why a sober and sound mind is necessary. Okay? And again, I'm speaking from my own experiences, so you know, if anybody is experiencing any shame through this, then that's something you're going to have to let go of and experience or, overcome for yourself, because there is no shaming here. All right. So this is just to provide the information so that you can understand where there may be doorways that are open for attacks. Because again, what we don't know can hurt us. So the more you know, the more equipped you become. Okay. The more equipped you are to closing those doors, all right, closing doors to the wrong things and opening doors to the right things. So this means you have to have a heart posture for rightness, right? What we would call righteousness, right? To do things in a proper, a right way, right? No one is saying perfect, but you have to have a heart posture to do right, right? I mean, that's kind of where what it comes from, your heart, right? So, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory when it comes to substance use and abuse, how you may be imbalanced in certain areas and ways. These are all things that you have to really pay attention to. Okay. As someone who has overcame that for myself, I value sobriety and being sober and having a sound mind, a clear mind, right? I value that. I truly do. You know, I mean, I've experienced um really sober, clear, sound mind my whole life, really. There was only a small smidget of time where I've, you know, tried things and was like, nah, I've learned the lesson. I learned the lesson. Which is why I can speak on it and really, be clear in it because I've already experienced that. I know what it's like and I'm good. So I said it to say, being able to know where you are allowing or have certain allowances in certain areas due to your choices or your habits, and then making new ones, right? Overcoming them. And this requires discipline. So when it comes to overcoming, when it comes to overcoming and having the victory, you have to apply discipline to these things because a lot of the things you're doing is from some type of subconscious programming, right? Subconsciously, you're navigating the contents that are already there. So you are now, really stepping on demons and things that, you know, you didn't even realize because you are going through those experiences and getting that information and that knowledge and that insight and like, okay, wow, I see what that was. I see what that was. And then you're like, well, like they say, you know better, you do better. But even then, you have to have the will. You have to have the will, which means you have to have the willpower, WILL, power, okay, to overcome it. And that goes for anything. You can overcome anything with willpower. So then now you have to look at and check where you maybe need to increase your will to do right, your will to do better. Okay. And so, I said all that to say how most of this, again, guys, plays out from family dynamics. I shared something in my stories on Instagram about, you know, how sometimes the things closest to you, the people closest to you, can be the very things that are sabotaging you. Okay. And because sometimes they're so close, you grew up with these people or these things or ideas that, these certain dynamics in family, that you've played that role, that family dynamic role, right? You played a certain role in the structure of the family. And then once you decided to no longer play that role and be a part of that role, guess what happens? Things shift in the family structure, because now that's requiring everything else to shift. Everyone else, if they want to, if they choose to really participate. But how this really works is you really get to choose your path. And then those who are meant to rise with you or grow with you will. And those who don't. But again, this is a part of the work, because now you are shifting family dynamics that you no longer want to be involved in and a part of. And then now you making that choice, guess what that does, guys? That can invite opposition, because those spirits that have been fed from you playing into that dynamic or that role are now trying to regain control. They're trying to regain power, right? Because now you're taking your power back. You're choosing not to participate. And so now you have to be strong in your will, and saying, I'm not tolerating certain things because I stand for this. And as you stand in that, guess what? You start to create a new timeline and a new reality where you will attract more people that's aligned with where you are. This is how this works, guys. So you have to be willing to break those family structures that are not solid. And again, oftentimes this is done subconsciously. Subconsciously, something is off, something is not right, and you're choosing something different. Okay. So I would say just trust your innate abilities, your gifts, your power, your understanding of what feels off or misaligned with you. And know that by you actually making a choice to choose something different, there is going to be some type of feedback. That's how I see it. Is feedback. Now, most people will be, you know, um, intense in their description of it and say, it's an attack. And I'm not gonna, deny that it's not. It is. It's definitely an attack. But to me, if you see it as feedback, then you won't give it as much power, because attack sounds like, it sounds so, it sounds so attack sounds so extreme or big, right? But if you kind of have a certain mindset navigating certain things, you can kind of overcome it by just the way that you view it. Just the way that you view it. You can overcome it because you can see it as attack or feedback. You see how those land differently? So, I mean, to me, if I see an attack as feedback, then now I can see that feedback as an advantage. I can see it as a way that benefits me, something that I can do that will benefit me. Now, it's easy for me to overcome it because I don't see it as something where I have to protect or defend. I'm just doing what needs to be done, and it is what it is. Right. And so that gets you out of that trauma loop. It gets you out of that trauma thinking, because, when you're always feeling like you're in attack and under battle, then you're now creating more suffering and pain simply because of the way you're perceiving things. But there is a higher way to perceive things that, yes, is still very much acknowledging the reality of what's taking place, but it also minimizes its authority. It minimizes its authority. Okay, this is game right here. This is something you probably won't get anyone else say, because this is how I see it. And you can either see it that way or not. It don't really matter. It doesn't change anything for me, besides the fact that, you know, I'm still going to do what works for me. Again, this is just me offering new new ways of viewing things. If it works for you, cool. If it don't, it don't. But again, you can't say you don't have the information or the means to minimize attacks, because that's the goal here. Make them feel small. I mean, think about it. If you make attacks feel small, then it's way more easier for you to overcome it. Mindset. So that brings us back to the first point. This is all mental. The way you view life, the way you view things, your perspective. And I've always been told I have a unique way of seeing things. And I'm aware of that. I own that. I accept that. So a lot of you guys will even be able to see that through, my podcast here. My way of viewing things is very much unique. Someone will see it as opposition. I'm seeing it as opportunity. You see the difference? I still see that. I'm looking at it. I see what it is, but it's still an opportunity for me to grow. It's still an opportunity for me to strengthen my leadership. It's still an opportunity for me to evolve. It's still an opportunity for me to expand and also take my power back. So, when you can own your personal power, you can overcome anything that comes your way, because you have proper perspective on it. And you don't have to view things in the same way you've always viewed things. You don't. You can see things in a new way, because you have to be able to do things that's going to be beneficial. So that's some of the ways I want to touch on in this episode, as far as what spiritual warfare can look like. I mean, it can really go, very much deeper. There's so many layers to it. And it's so specific to each individual, so it's hard to really encompass it all in this one episode. However, I am here. Okay. um this is one of the reasons why I'm sharing. And if you feel like there is something specific you need support or to work through, then please don't hesitate to book a one-on-one session with me. I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you guys can see the availability and schedule. And trust me, we can go there. We can uncover it. We can um I can reveal and show you certain things that maybe you haven't seen yet, or you just need a new perspective on, to allow you to overcome it and see things in a new way. So if you definitely want support through that, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, guys, you have support here. You don't have to do it alone. And we're not actually meant to, oftentimes. So that is, you know, what I wanted to share for now in regards to that. And I hope this was very helpful to you guys. If nothing else, the information lands for you in the way that it needs to. And check out my website, drinkandshine.com, where you will see everything that I offer there. And as always, guys, stay blessed, stay shining. Peace.